Now, I want to thank those of you who've given me some feedback. So I'm going to try to really keep applying that and make these videos that much better. And this video is a hot topic. It's a hot topic for a lot of people involved in youth sports, and that's playing time, right? So as parents, especially if you're doing travel stuff and you're paying all this money, you want to make sure your kids getting playing time. And as a coach, you got to be thinking about that as well. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about next. Emotions play a huge role in this, right? When it comes to playing time. So we've got to talk about that and cover that. Also, the developmental age of the child, that makes a difference and that matters. Being able to listen and communicate clearly is always important in everything we do. Being upfront, honest, open from the get-go, all those things and more, what we will be covering in this video. In some of our other videos, we've talked about the rise of travel ball, baseball, soccer, basketball, whatever it is, and the high cost and the high prices of that. Well, when you organize a team of 12 basketball players, let's say, and travel around and they're paying a lot of money, playing time becomes a really big deal. Same as soccer, baseball, it doesn't matter, right? Any of those, if you're spending $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, and the roster's got to be deep enough where sometimes somebody, they may get hurt, they may not be able to make it for a weekend tournament, they may miss a game here. You've got to have some depth to the roster. Playing time becomes real important. It's also important to understand what you're trying to do with these young people, right? What's the ultimate objective and goal? Is it just to win, or is it to develop athletic talent? Or is there some sort of combination there, some level of yeah, we want to win, but we also need to make sure we are developing the athletes? Those are important things to be clear on in your own mind as you get ready to, coach a team or run a program that's offering opportunities for kids to develop through youth sports. Now, in other videos, you've heard me kind of bemoan the growth of travel sports, especially at very young ages. I wholeheartedly think that's a huge mistake, and parents, you should be saying no to that. You should be really focusing on developing some good developmental local sports leagues and all, where you're beginning to teach, depending on the age, but I'd say before the age of 10, total focus is on developmental. Teaching them about winning gracefully, losing gracefully, right? I'm all in favor of keeping score even at a very early age. There's a lot of lessons that you can teach about losing, but if you're not keeping score at all and you're trying to tell kids there's no scorekeeping, then those lessons can be lost because there is no winning or losing. But given that, it's about you need to learn these skills and how to play together and work together. So understanding that is you really want to be balancing out playing time. Now, maybe as early as 10, maybe a little bit older, where you can begin to put a little more emphasis on the idea of winning. But even then, it's about getting better. And you still, those are young ages, they haven't hit puberty yet. There's so much development that happens after that with growth. And some kids are much bigger, stronger, faster at a younger age. And by the time they get to high school, whatever, these other kids have passed them in size and skill level. But you need to understand, even as you begin to emphasize winning maybe a little bit more, it's more about striving to win. And you still about developing athletic skills. To do that, they need to get in the game, right? So balancing out playing time as best you can is very important at the younger ages diminishes slightly as you get a little bit older. Your best weapon as a coach for um, anything that might come back at you is good record keeping. I had a spreadsheet, and every sport I coached, we kept a record of playing time. With the basketball team I coached, it was pretty easy. We had 10 people on our roster, and I did have a couple of really elite athletes who became really good basketball, and one of them athlete every sport. He was outstanding. And I had a whole bunch of kind of like role player types, and we almost treated it like hockey. I had put together 5 that I thought, oh, these 5 will work really well together, and these 5, and we won't lose anything. And this is middle school age group, right? We won't lose anything. I'll take these 5 out, put these 5 in. I don't really lose anything. The skill set's a little bit different, and the second group is a little more intense defense, weren't necessarily quite as good on offense, but they kind of clamp down in your face, shut down defense. The first group was good defensively, but more offensive minded. So it really worked. We had a very good team, and the playing time was balanced right out, right? Babe Ruth baseball, Little League baseball, spreadsheet, keeping track of innings, at bats, innings pitched, all these things just to keep it in balance. I also, though, especially by the time I even began in Little League, but big in Babe Ruth was, all right, we are really going to begin to understand what it takes to win. And that means we're going to have a core 3 or 4 who are going to play a little bit more. And they were, generally speaking, the older guys, right? They were who'd been around the league for a couple of years and a little bit bigger, older. And it was easy to kind of justify that. Occasionally, there might be a hotshot young, like 13-year-old, like this basketball player athlete I told you about who came in Babe Ruth baseball at 13, was like, holy smokes, this guy's phenomenal. And they get a little more playing time, but again, it's the open communication from the get-go, and then keeping good records to back up what you're talking about. All the years I was coaching youth sports, uh, parents got to know me. I was active. I was out there. My teams did well, had a reputation for coaching, for helping develop players, all of that kind of thing. And the communication, right? So I made it clear this is how I handle things. This is what is going to be up front. And people kind of trusted me, right? It was that clear communication, handing out, give them all, here are the rules, here's what we expect, here's what we expect for practices, here's what we expect for, to get the playing time. This is how I'll kind of rotate things around. I'm always going to be trying to keep, certain players in to, sometimes your son might start, but he'll come in later and play a little bit more in order to get, we're still trying to teach them about winning at the same time. So we want to always have a good team out there, and I'm not like taking out my best players, putting in subs, and we lose games late. So it wasn't about starting only, it's about starting and finishing strong. And all that communication, all that transparency, all that upfront communication and handouts, that's what parents really wanted, right? I really, except for that one incident I had mentioned in another video, I rarely had any parents ever complain. And that one incident, mom kept the boy on the team for the whole time, began to understand, what I was about, and wasn't always happy, but through that transparency, the open communication, the fact that I could document playing time and all those things, it was disarming, right? There wasn't any ammo. She couldn't begin to attack me or what I was doing, because I was doing all the things I said that I was going to do. So that's a huge important piece that coaches need to understand and implement. So now that we've finished this particular video, And it's, it's a big one, important one. Playing time's always a big issue. Love to hear your comments. I would love to have you like this, share this, tell me your own stories, but engage with this. Then go check out one of our other videos.